That's my guy.
Morning, sir. Rick Thompson at OEM. It's 10 o'clock. Sheriff, if you would like to take the committee.
All right, thanks, Brett. It's Sheriff Kevin McMail. I'd like to call the meeting to order of the State of Nevada Commission on Homeland Security Committee on Finance, July 15th, 2026 at 10 a.m. Is it Lauren, are you going to do the roll call this morning,
Yes, sir.
please?
Lauren Borst for the record. Sheriff Kevin McMahill.
Present.
Carolyn Levering.
Here.
Michael Brown.
Here.
Chris Lake.
Chris is here.
Thank you. Director George Togliatti.
I'm here.
Thank you, sir. Joe Colacercio.
Present.
Sir. Brett Compton.
Present.
Samantha Laddick.
Here.
You have quorum.
Thank you, Lauren. We'll go to item number 2, public comment. This is discussion only. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under this item of the agenda until the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an item upon which action may be taken. Public comments may be limited to 3 minutes per person at the discretion of the chair. Comments will not be restricted based on viewpoint. Because there is no physical location for this meeting, public testimony under this agenda item may be presented by phone. To do that testimony during period of public comment, call in after 9:30 on the day of the meeting by dialing 1-669-219-2599. When prompted to provide the meeting ID, please enter 202-331-8963 and then press number. When prompted for a participant ID, please press #. When asked to provide public comment, please press *6 to unmute your phone and *6 again when your comments are complete. Please be advised that the YouTube stream will be between 60 to 90 seconds behind the live meeting. If you would like to present public comment, please call in using the above number to hear the meeting live. To provide written comment, please email your comments to Lauren Borst at lborst, B-O-R-S-T, @oem.nv.gov by 9 a.m. one business day prior. Written comments will not be read onto the record of the meeting. So we'll give it just a minute. Go ahead, Lauren.
Sorry to interrupt. It's l.borst@oem.nv.gov.
Oh, I apologize. All right, Lauren, you have anybody up there in Carson on the line?
Lauren Borst for the record. Seeing none, sir.
How about on the YouTube?
Also seeing none.
And down here in Las Vegas? Lauren, maybe I missed it. Did you have anything in Las Vegas?
Not that I can see, sir.
Okay, very good. We'll move on to item number 3, approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion from the August 8th of 2025?
Carolyn,
This is Brown.
move to approve.
Carolyn moved to approve. Do I need a second on that or no?
You, sir.
Can I get a second, please?
Brown second.
first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, minutes are approved. Item number 4, review of the federal fiscal year 2026 State Homeland Security Program SHSP proposals with the intent to formulate a recommendation to the Nevada Commission on Homeland Security. Brett, who's doing the presentation on this?
I'll be doing this for you.
All right, Mr. Compton.
All right, Brett Thompson for the record. Good morning, Homeland Security Finance Committee. The allocation PDF you were provided last night includes both the results of the Nevada Resilience Advisory Committee ranking recommendations for the State Homeland Security Program and the Urban Area Working Group ranking recommendations for the Urban Area Security Initiative grant funds, which when combined make up the total Homeland Security Grant Program. I will brief you on just the SHSP portion that was ranked by NRAC. The ranking procedure that was approved by the NRAC during the January 2026 committee meeting and subsequently briefed to the Homeland Security Commission was as follows. Beginning with the 2026 grant cycle, all grants will compete each year. There are no more automatic renewals. Office of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, with the governor's approval, provided enduring focused investment areas for capabilities Nevada wants to retain or improve in the grant notification. Recommendations are based on analysis of HSGP approved projects over the past 10 years. The total state Homeland Security target allocation is $4,363,750. There are 5 national priority areas requiring 30% minimum spend across all 5 for a total of $1,308,825. The national priority areas are enhancing the protection of soft targets in crowded places, supporting Homeland Security Task Force and fusion centers, enhancing and integrating cyber security resiliency, supporting border crisis response and enforcement with a 10% minimum spend for $436,275. And the last category is enhancing election security with a 3% minimum spend of $130,882. In addition, 35% of the grant must be dedicated to law enforcement terrorism prevention activities for approximately $1.5 million. 5% or $218,000 is allocated to OEM for management of the projects within this grant. All national priority areas and law enforcement spending requirements are met by the attached recommendations. Be advised, there is uncertainty regarding the actual amount approved sub-applicants will receive due to FEMA's application of a withhold condition to this year's enhancing election security national priority area. If Nevada is unable to comply with the election requirements, 20% of the total HSGP grant will be withheld from payment. As I stated initially, this year we introduced Nevada-focused investment areas. While no specific amounts or percentages were tied to any investment category, the following were required to be funded at some level during the negotiations and ranking process. Fusion centers / intelligence centers, community emergency response teams, OEM statewide recovery project, which provides for preliminary damage assessments and GIS support across the state, OEM statewide NIMS and fiber project, and the continuity of operations, continuity of government project that Washoe County administers for the state. The last category is Northern Nevada bomb squad capabilities. The following investments were strongly encouraged: alerts and warning systems, including evacuation and incident information sharing tools, unmanned aerial systems and counter unmanned aerial systems, and 911 system enhancements. There were a total of 21 projects from across the state that were recommended for funding with the available target allocation. Following completion of the committee today, your recommendations will be briefed to the Homeland Security Commission at 14:30 or 2:30 today. I am open for questions or discussions as you see fit, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Compton. Any discussion? Not hearing any, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, Carolyn Levering for the record. I move to approve the slate of projects as presented for approval to the full commission.
Thank you, Carolyn. Do I have a second?
Christopher Lake will second.
Thank you, Christopher. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion approved. Thank you. Move on to item number 5, which is the review of the federal fiscal year FFY 2026 Urban Area Security Initiative, UASI proposals with the intent to formulate a recommendation to the Nevada Commission on Homeland Security. It looks like this is an item for discussion and action, and Deputy Chief O'Neill will be doing the presentation. Brian?
Yes, sir. Good morning, Sheriff. Good morning, committee members. Deputy Chief Brian O'Neill, Urban Area Administrator and Clark County Emergency Manager. I'll provide a brief on the UASI portion ranked by the Urban Area Working Group yesterday. The total Urban Area Security Initiative target allocation is $7,671,239. The 5 national priority areas requiring 30% minimum spend across all 5 equates to $2,301,371. The supporting border crisis response and enforcement 10% minimum spend is $767,125. The enhancing election security 3% minimum spend is $230,137. At least 35% must be dedicated to law enforcement terrorism prevention activities at $2,684,933. 5% or $383,561 is allocated to Nevada OEM's management of the projects within this grant. All MPAs and law enforcement spending requirements are met by the attached recommendations. The Nevada focused areas specific to the UASI are fusion centers, intelligence centers, community emergency response teams, chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, explosive, hazardous materials capabilities, metropolitan medical response systems, alerts and warnings and mass notification systems, Southern Nevada Incident Management Team, and THIRA SPR, coordinated tactical response, and MAC support. The same 3 strongly encouraged investments briefed by Chief Compton also applied to the UASI. We also followed the guidance from the NRAC to eliminate the sustain, enhance, and new categories, and all projects were presented to the voting members. A total of 30 projects were recommended for funding with the available target allocation. These 30 projects represent 77% law enforcement terrorism prevention activity spending, more than twice the grant program minimum. They are also 90% within the national priority areas. They have included the prioritized projects as identified by Clark County, the City of Las Vegas, the City of Henderson, the City of North Las Vegas, SNCTC, LVMPD, Southern Nevada Health District, and the Las Vegas Valley Water Reclamation District, and provide funding for public safety programs like LVMPD SWAT, LVMPD MACTAC, LVMPD Armored Task Force, Henderson Police and Fire, North Las Vegas Police and Fire, Clark County Fire, LVFR Hazmat Seaburn, and LVFR Bomb Squad. They expand drone as a first responder and the SNCTC Drone Operations Center into the City of Henderson and City of North Las Vegas through interoperable systems, add mobile drone teams to the Las Vegas City Marshals, and fund robotic firefighting capabilities in the Valley, representing significant investments in new technology. The Las Vegas UASI submits these projects for your consideration.
All right, Chief O'Neill, thank you. Any discussion or questions? What a lively group. All right. Well, listen, I have a couple questions. I think, first off, I just want to say, I know that the time frames that the UAG had to put together all of this were condensed in ways that I don't know that it's ever been condensed that quickly. And the funding numbers significantly cut, lots of competing projects within this. And I'm impressed by the work that you guys did. However, there are a couple of areas that I'm concerned about that I'd like to first off have some conversation around before I make any recommendation. And I don't think this is should come as a shock to anybody here. I put this on notice last year, specifically to the Southern Nevada Community Emergency Response Team that's run through the city. I'm still wondering what it is specifically that CERT has accomplished over the course of the last year, as well as the significant level of funding that has been provided to it. The number that I got was about $2.6 million over the last 10 years. That's a pretty heavy investment through UASI funding. And quite frankly, looking at the numbers here of the training, I don't know that we're getting the best return on our investment. So I'd like to have some conversation with the larger group around that, Chief O'Neill, and I don't know if you want to throw that over to Carolyn or not, but I'd like to have some discussion in regards to this cert and what it's providing into the overall safety of our communities.
Yes, sir. Brian O'Neill for the record. I will throw it over to Carolyn, but I just want to say first that there were 2 projects that were listed on the agenda for the UASI to consider. Both projects were presented to the voting members. They were each scored competitively, and they both fell above the line for funding, and they were and so they were competitively presented and then ultimately funded. Carolyn?
Hey, good morning, Sheriff. Good morning, Finance Commission. Thank you for the question. I know, Sheriff, you raised similar concerns last year and might have done a better job of keeping you briefed over the course of the year on accomplishments for these projects. There's 2 different elements to this community emergency response team. There's the training element, and that is the one that you're referencing as far as having been funded over the past 10 years in the Urban Area Security Initiative. And the secondary element to that program is the volunteer component. This was a component added to the program just a few years ago, actually at the urging and prompting of Chief O'Neill's predecessors, both Chief Samuels and Chief Steinbeck before him. The request was that we do more with the training, that we don't just train people and then send them on their way, but that we offer an opportunity and infrastructure to support them to volunteer using the skills that they learned from the training programs. I do want to highlight the fact that these projects are the only projects that support the community resilience target capability within the 32 target capabilities defined by FEMA through the Department of Homeland Security. These projects represent approximately 5% of the total urban area budget this year, and are always very low percentage-wise as far as the projects go across the board. Prior to the initiation of this maintain and sustain and enhance feature that we eliminated this year, this project was always competitively ranked, and for a number of years was ranked in the top 3 projects. So it definitely enjoys significant support amongst stakeholders here in Southern Nevada. I do want to point out too that while some projects are very equipment heavy as far as specialized equipment and materials, that some projects rely more on people to have them become a success. We've experimented with a lot of different ways to continue this programming, especially during COVID, when we weren't able to do a lot of in-person training and hands-on sessions, by offering programs remotely through web training modules. While that helped us get through the pandemic era by being able to continue to put those programs through, we clearly need to bring them back in-house to where people can do the hands-on components, which include things like fire suppression, search and rescue, damage assessment, disaster medical operations, and triage. We also have a module on terrorism, including the 7 signs of terrorism, and of course, promoting the See Something, Say Something campaign. As far as the output, right, we're talking outputs and outcomes. Output-wise, we trained over 300 people last year. Our goal was 180. So I feel that we did an excellent job in increasing our numbers this year with no additional resources. And we really stretched that budget very far. The city of Las Vegas has supported this program despite the fact that we have not seen the 2025 funds hit our books yet. Those awards just were released last week and are going to council for approval in August. And in the meantime, the city has shouldered that financial burden of maintaining this program, but we've done so happily. This project has seen many thousands of people over the years come through for the training. We still maintain a database of upwards of 5,000 people who've had this training that we are routinely communicating with regarding, as far as quarterly newsletters, regarding program advancements, opportunities for refresher training, opportunities for advanced training, as well as opportunities to volunteer. The volunteers in this program, again, it's still in its infancy as far as the amount of time we've had available and the limited resources assigned to it thus far, has allowed us to retain or build a database of 50 deployable volunteers who have supported deployments for emergency shelter operations, as well as on the daily, they're providing emergency preparedness information to the community. That kind of information is being supplied through schools, through libraries, through community centers, through homeowners associations. We've seen significant increases in requests for these presentations. So there is definitely a void that needs to be filled in our community when it comes to helping people understand what our hazards are and what they should be doing to protect against them. I'm kind of going off the cuff here on some of this, so if I'm missing some of the details that you're looking for, please do let me know what else you need to know about where we're at with the program.
Sheriff McMahill, for the record. Carolyn, when was the last time we deployed CERT?
It depends on how you define deployment. I mean, if you define deployment as far as educational campaigns, things like that, we're doing that on a weekly basis. I think the last emergency deployment would be the Las Vegas Convention Center shelter opened by Clark County as a result of a power outage that displaced a number of people from a adult independent living facility. And when called upon, we had several of the CERT volunteers come and do 12-hour shifts in those operational periods until that shelter facility was closed.
Okay, Sheriff McMahill, again, for the record. I think when I look at, and again, I know this doesn't come as a surprise, but when we're talking about the numbers of people, upwards of 300 that you're training and the amount of money that we're getting in there, just comparing it to, say, Fusion Liaison Officer and the trainings that we're providing, which are duplicative, I think we've eclipsed that by a factor of 10 at least in the training. And so I don't know why it costs so much to train so few. I think that's one of the questions that I have there. And then, there's been a number of emergencies here in Southern Nevada that I would have expected this type of a group to respond to that have never responded to it. And so my questioning of it is not personal. It's just simply, is it effective? And my answer is no. And so I guess my question also maybe goes back to Mr. Compton, but what level does CERT have to be funded at for us to remain in compliance with the conditions of the UASI grant?
Brett Thompson for the record, sir. So there is no minimum dollar amount other than essentially $1. So that is not required as part of the national priority areas. It was an area that we added as a requirement across both grants based on the spending amounts that have been invested over the last 10 years when we did the analysis of HSGP. So as written in the bulletin one that we released with the NOFO from the state, recommendation from me to the governor with the governor's concurrence was an investment in CERT, but the determination on the amount of that was left to both the NRAC and the UASI to determine what was appropriate for their respective communities. I can speak to on the SHSP side, the grants that you just looked at, there were 2 of the 3 up here that applied that were approved. Washoe County was approved. Carson City was approved and Douglas County ultimately was not funded.
Okay. Sheriff McMail, for the record, anybody else have any discussion on this particular point?
Sheriff, I would like to interject, as far as the deployment I was referring to earlier about the shelter operation. That is just specific to the urban core. I will, let you know as well that this program is for all of Southern Nevada, and we have supported, more of the rural communities as well. City of Mesquite, for example, has a very robust program managing their own volunteer activities, but we do support them with all of the training as well as the equipping of their volunteers. And I don't think we have a representative from Mesquite on the line today, but I was talking with Chief Jason Andrews yesterday about it, because I needed a gut check on this as well for myself. So I asked him if he felt that the value of this program was supporting his city. Because, and I just said, it's not going to hurt my feelings. Tell me straight up, do we provide you value? And he said without reserve that absolutely these projects are important to Mesquite because it does help maintain their own volunteer programs through the training we do. As well as including them in the annual exercise, full-scale exercise that we host every year, utilizing these program funds. And he can tell you that they've got people that are out there weekly, if not daily, doing a variety of tasks. We would like to see more of that engagement here in the urban core. It's a little more challenging with the transient nature of our population. As people are starting to live here longer and become more part of the community, they're starting to engage more. But it requires a lot of outreach to get there. And I feel like if we, at least from the volunteer component of it, if we give up before we give it a really valid shot, that will definitely be missing an opportunity.
Okay, thanks, Sheriff McMail. Again, for the record, any other comment or discussion on that issue? All right, hearing none, I'd like to move on to another piece of this that I'm quite frankly very concerned about is the patrol DFR funding. And I know most of you have all seen the DFR that Metro has built here with donated funds. We made a major investment in that capability and 100% believe strongly in the value that it adds to crime fighting, homeland security, and all of the other things. But I'm concerned that I'm not sure that UASC is the correct funding source for these very, very expensive pieces of equipment, ongoing costs of software, service, maintenance, connectivity, replacement, all of the things that are what we continually argue with at every other finance committee on who gets what and how do you maintain the funding for them. And so when I look at the proposal from both Henderson and North Las Vegas, I'm confused as to what sort of bids you guys are getting because your costs are completely different from one to the other. I'm also not willing as a finance committee to continue funding this stuff into the future for software and subscriptions, which we continually see us come back to this pot of money for those kinds of things, for maintenance and technical support, for aircraft and dock replacement, and then again, staffing and training. And so, while I'm reluctantly agreeing to move forward on some of these things, I'd like to have a couple of those questions answered as to what those two jurisdictions plan on doing with this. And do you plan on making your drones part of the SNCTC, your fusion centers, drone operations center? And should we use these funds for creating duplicative efforts across the board? And I just think that this is another one of those areas where we continue to look at funding everybody to do have all the equipment, all the people, all the training, all the costs that are funded by dwindling funds in both UASI and SHSP fundings. And I don't think it's a good idea for us to continue to head down that particular path. And so I'm curious what, Brian, what you as a committee spoke about, and then how do we answer some of the questions in the widely varying costs that are provided by the two cities, as well as what are the demo plans that they've come up with to actually deploy these things? Or are we just looking at giving resources to the cities to do what they want with them in disparate ways, which is not really what we've been talking about as a Homeland Security Committee over the last couple of years?
Yeah, Sheriff Brian O'Neill for the record. I'll let each program speak to the specifics, but just as an overview, each of the programs described the interoperability nature of it, how they were going to be coordinated with the Drone Operations Center, how they would investigate actually flying with pilots from the Drone Operations Center, deconflicting the missions that may overlap into some of those areas. So all of that stuff was discussed, and a sustainment plan was also discussed. So one of the things that we were very clear on with the new guidance from NRAC is that these are all 1-year funding plans, and that each of the projects has to have a sustainment plan going forward. Each of the cities made commitments to funding their own ongoing operational and maintenance costs, and just securing the capital to have that initial investment for their programs. And then any costs that were not captured here. So we recognize that there's going to have to be some infrastructure costs at wherever they put these drones. So facility upgrades, data, power supply, things like that, that they'll all have to bear those costs at their individual jurisdictions. And then make this a very coordinated effort where we're all moving together and deconflicting the operation. So we did discuss those things, and they do have a plan to move forward that way.
Okay, Sheriff McMayo for the record. I think we also had the city of Las Vegas in there as well. And so if it wouldn't mind, I'd like to hear some commentary from each of the jurisdictions that are getting the drone operations.
Good morning, this is Lieutenant Hartz with the Department of Public Safety, City of Las Vegas, for the record. Sheriff and Board, we were just looking for a small allotment. We were just looking for a small allotment for us to be able to do step assessments.
Paul, I think you need to turn your feedback down there.
I won't know until I
Yes,
start
sir, is that
talking.
better?
We'll know.
Yeah, we can hear you better.
I put mine all the way down because
All right, the Sheriff McMayo, let's try with Paul Hartz again. Paul?
Good morning, sir. Is that better?
Yep, we can hear you better.
Outstanding. Thank you, sir. The City of Las Vegas was looking to deploy 3 drones to assess for SEPTED assessments, city special events, the water treatment plant, and other city needs as far as property goes, where our jurisdiction has minimal officers or at times minimal officers, and we could deploy easily without having to depend upon Las Vegas Metro for non-priority 1 calls, which you are already overwhelmed with. That was the intent of our grant and our resources and how we wish to deploy them, along with other needs from other agencies. We share jurisdictional boundaries with School District PD and UPD MOU, where their properties we could easily assess to help them as well, and also Las Vegas Metro.
Sheriff McMayo for the record. Paul, so how do you intend to staff your ability to deploy these drones?
Sir, we currently have 5 already approved pilots through FFA. We have all our policies in place through the City of Las Vegas. We plan on deploying these on 3 different shifts, giving us coverage for probably about 75% of our schedule. So as our officers have special events, requests for SEPTED, or calls for service requiring them, we would deploy them from officers already in the field, sir.
Okay, any other questions? Sheriff McMayo again, any other questions for Paul Hartz? Hearing nothing, it looks like I see City of Henderson hand up.
Sheriff Reggie Rader here, for the record, Chief of Henderson Police. I'm also here with our emergency manager and Diana Clarkson. So we scaled back our ask significantly, and I'm working very hard to get our fundraising to the point where it needs to be. We have several area businesses in Henderson that are donating to Metro and to the county because they don't know we're out there. So to sustain everything, I have enough to do all of our infrastructure with the grant funding. But we scaled ours back and even reduced it from 3 to 2. It was our sole ask for the entire city. And if you look at the money awarded to the 5 different jurisdictions, we received the least. We were very intentional in our ask. And we do believe it's in alignment with the grant. The information Chief Compton provided is Governor Lombardo said that drones could be a recommended investment in this. And it's also in line with the national priority of hardening our soft targets in crowded areas. Where we're putting the drones at cover a lot of our critical infrastructure on Water Street, City Hall, the Galleria Mall, the wastewater treatment plant, and we will be located as you intended in the Drone Ops Center, so that can truly be a regional partnership. And we're utilizing drones that are compatible in the same system that you guys are operating off of. And I've already identified and come out of my own budget 4 full-time position commissioned officers that will be flying out of there. As far as I mean, that's all I have to say about that, but I think it is in alignment. I think we weren't selfish. We all were in agreement, the fire department, emergency management, the police department, that this was a singular need needed for the city. We're not going to be coming back next year asking for additional drones. We just don't have at this time and this early on in my tenure here, the public support to get this privately donated. And it was a very, very big, important thing for us to get on. And that's why we asked for it this go around.
Sheriff McMail, for the record, any questions for the City of Henderson and Chief Rader? All right, hearing none. I see Ben Erickson, your hand up.
Yes. Hi, hello, Sheriff. This is Ben Erickson, Deputy Fire Chief with North Las Vegas and Emergency Manager for the City of North Las Vegas. Yeah, our plan is to fully integrate with the Fusion Center, the NCTC. Same with Henderson. Our original ask was for 4 drones and we reduced ours down to 2. So we started out with the initial amount of $869,200 and reduced down to what we were actually receiving at $458,354. So we kind of knew that coming in we were going to have to probably take that reduction. I know one of your questions was about how the difference in the pricing compared to ours in Henderson, and then like, why do we have 2 different price quotes? Just based off of manufacturer, we're not allowed to put specific manufacturers of what we're going to get. I know Henderson, and it was discussed highly in the meeting yesterday about the infrastructures. We didn't put any of the infrastructure cost in to actually get the mounts and everything like that for the drones that we want to deploy. That'll all be under CIP budgets and operating budgets through our building maintenance and things like that. So the discrepancies in prices, and I believe City of Henderson went with like a 5-year warranty program, where we're just going to go with the 2-year that was discussed as well for the performance period of that. So our plan is to fully integrate into the Fusion Center. We do have dedicated officers. That is the plan from my command staff from PD side. Unfortunately, they are not here to speak on this. I'm just speaking on it as the emergency manager on it, but that is the intention. We do have at least 10 qualified Part 107 FAA qualified pilots. We did a program where Skydio obviously came out and deployed 2 of our units that we were utilized for over 2 weeks at one of our police substations. We saw the value in the program. Obviously, you guys are the flagship here in town. You guys are showing the value in the program. And so I think it's kind of one of these where everybody wants to be part of the program. We want to integrate. We're not trying to do our own thing on our own out in North Las Vegas. We want to integrate in the Fusion Center. And that's why we put in the project the way we did.
Thanks, Ben. Sheriff McMahill again for the record. I'd highly encourage, though, that if we're going to, and I believe that's the right way to do this, to go through and put the folks in the Drone Operations Center so that we're all working collectively together. But I also believe there's an opportunity to leverage cost and maintenance cost and a number of other things if we all do the bidding through that existing relationship that we have in the Fusion Center with the provider of these drones, and for us to all look at that collectively to get that one cost model that would be the lower cost for everybody involved. So I would appreciate if we could all take a look at that and work with the individuals all connected to that particular effort so that we can get the best bang for our buck for the dollars that we're going to spend.
Yeah, Sheriff, I understand. Yeah, maybe we need to have a subcommittee just fund, if we don't have one already, through UOC, or sorry, through UAG, getting that on board. Obviously, cost savings is beneficial for all members involved. Sole sourcing it through one direct distributor would probably be a good idea, and it'd be a cost savings and a benefit to the city as a whole.
Yeah. Thank you, Ben. Anybody else? Any discussion? Those are the last two items that I have. Anybody else have any items for discussion?
Sheriff Brian O'Neill again, for the record, if I could just make one more comment. While we did talk about ongoing maintenance and operation costs being absorbed by the agency budgets, I can see that we'll probably see additional capital costs come through the UAG for additional funding in future cycles. I think as these programs start to come up and the individual agencies and jurisdictions see the value of their programs, they're going to want to expand their coverage area, and the individual drone docking station only provides a few mile radius. And so as our cities expand, as our crime areas grow, as the value of the program is analyzed, I think we'll see additional drone docking stations being put in the valley.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Sheriff McMahill, for the record, I agree with you, but also there's a lot of funding out there under these Biden grants right now that there's millions and millions of dollars that I think we're missing the boat on, and looking to go out and spend or to get some of the funding for some of that, rather than having it come from a reduced pot of money that is UASC and SHSP. I just don't know that adding drones and having the responsibility into the future this is the right pot of money for that. And I think that's something that overall we're going to have to take up as the Homeland Commission meeting later today. I understand the work that you guys have all put into this so far, and it is what it is, but I don't personally believe that this is the right funding pot for us to continue to support all the local municipalities to expand the equipment through that, especially given that the numbers and the available dollars continue to dwindle for the important programs that we have to keep our community safe. Any other comments or discussion items? Nobody. All right, I guess we entertain a motion here. I'll tell you, I'll start. I believe that the work that you guys have done here has been pretty exceptional, but I've also put it out very clearly as to where I stand on a number of these issues. And I move that the Finance Committee approves the UAG funding recommendation as presented, subject to the following conditions: that FY26 be treated as the final transition year for the Southern Nevada Community Emergency Response Team, and that all funded patrol-based DFR projects provide local sustainment commitments and be fully integrated into the SNCTC Drone Operations Center and Regional Operating Network. We can have discussion around that if you'd like.
Sheriff Carolyn Loving, for the record.
Go ahead, Carolyn.
Yeah. I will admit some disappointment at that type of condition being placed upon pushing these the entire slate of projects forward. I don't know that that's necessarily the role of the Finance Committee to place those sorts of conditions. But I do believe it's something that could and should be discussed at the full commission as far as what priorities are set, not just for, as they've been set on an annual basis, including this year, but for years moving forward. So that's just my 2 cents on that proposal. Thank you.
Yeah, Sheriff McMahill for the record. And listen, I knew, Carolyn, we weren't going to agree on this, no doubt about it. But, I would also say that as the comments that I made in last year's very same meeting, I've had exactly zero communication on what this team is doing, how they're being deployed, the results of that in the last year. And so that's why I made the motion in the manner that I made it. I don't know that anybody else can even give me any further commentary on the effectiveness of what it is that we're doing, especially when it's a lot of money over 10 years that we put into a program that I'm not seeing the bang for the buck on. And so that's why I made my motion in the manner that I made it.
Carolyn Levering for the record. I understand, sir, and I take responsibility for failing to communicate with you the wins that we've had with this program over the year. That's on me, and I apologize for that.
Any other commentary?
Sheriff George Tagliati for the record. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. George, go ahead.
Again, this is my first meeting, so in fact, I'm picking up a lot of information, learning a lot. I just want to throw a little something into the drone program. We do it particularly up in northern Nevada and in the rurals. I have to do some homework on our funding and our funding sources and so on and so forth. And we may be able to your point about maybe collectively looking at something statewide where people can maybe reduce some of the costs by using the same vendors, blah, blah, blah. So I'm going to jump on that and see if I can do some research also with my Office of Criminal, Department of Justice assistance. And maybe there may be some other funding streams specific through the either highway funds or somehow through the DOJ.
Thanks, George. Any other comments? Just looking at Sheriff McMahill for the record, just looking at the current voting membership, just want to make sure with Michael Brown, do we have any questions in regards to the motion?
No question, sir.
Carolyn, you've weighed in. George, you've weighed in. Lieutenant Joe Curcio, I'm sorry, I messed that up.
Pretty good, actually, sir. Cola Curcio, please just call me Cola. Again, I'm same boat with George. I'm learning and catching up on this one pretty quick, but I don't disagree to looking at collaboratively, getting under contracts altogether to save money and then maybe fund other programs completely, just simply based on collaborative agreements through, contracts that way. So completely understand that one, and would love to have further conversation down the road on what is the Finance Committee's true ruling about, like what you're saying, sir. Because if we're just here to vote to say yes or no, then what's the point of it? I agree with that side of things. If we are here to make, put restrictions on certain things, I think that benefits other programs to force them to actually look and open their eyes into other grant portions or grant opportunities down the road.
Thanks. Dr. Lake?
I have actually one question, mostly towards Brett Compton. If we do put some funding restrictions on the CERT team in particular, how does that make the administration of your program? How does that impact you with other CERT teams being fully funded and one that has restrictions?
It's Brett Compton for the record. So at the state level, the Office of Emergency Management, there is no direct impact. These support local communities. Like I said, the three that are supported through the series of grants that exist right now, as presented to you guys, are Washoe County, Carson City, and City of Las Vegas. We would have the option to reach out to any of these CERT programs if we needed to have augmentees come in and ask those local jurisdictions to support us. In my 2 years here, that has not occurred, but it is certainly an option. I do see them when I go to participation events here in Northern Nevada. Obviously, I can't speak to the Southern Nevada portion. I haven't been to an event in which I've seen those. So no direct input, but they are an option that is available to us if a local jurisdiction is going to support that request.
Great, thank you. And then just a follow-up question. We passed the the other CERT team's funding requests without any conditions on the earlier agenda item. So I'm just concerned that we're treating one differently than all the others. Not that I disagree, but I'm just concerned about the disparities there.
Yeah, Sheriff McMahill, for the record, is there somebody from Washoe or Reno on let's see, Joe, maybe you could talk about that. I've been told that the deployment of the teams up there is a much more robust effort than it is in the southern part of the state.
I can't speak, Captain Cole Curcio, for the record. I can't speak for Carson City or anyone on the other portion, but I do know at the Washoe County Sheriff's Office, we do use them in a very robust manner. They are pretty much any programs, anything that we have, special events, they are deployed. As soon as we have evacuations or anything like that with search and rescue, they're deployed. They are a beneficial asset to the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. And I know if Joe O was on here, he would speak to the same. They're available to use by any other agency that requests them. And we use them in that manner, from anywhere from traffic control all the way down to, doing non-threatening evacuation requests, to going out and providing just community support on any of those other requests. I know we do that in quite a robust manner. So I do and will say it is a benefit for the Sheriff's Office here in Washoe County and to our locally partnering agencies to use them. And it's not uncommon for me to put in that request directly to Joe O, to have them come out and assist us on different things when we do have those incidents or large events. So I can speak to that, sir, Sheriff, on that side of things.
Okay, Sheriff McMahill, for the record, any other discussion?
Sheriff, this is Joel Osregi with Washoe County Sheriff's Office, CERT program for the record.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
I can give you numbers that maybe support what you're looking for. Last year, we put in 23,152 hours to support the Sheriff's Office and the responding agencies around here and our local event partners. And if you took that dollar amount and multiplied it by $35 an hour, it would be a return on investment of $810,337 back into the community. We support everything. We support the Sheriff's Office. We go out on multiple emergency events for support for evacuations, also shelter operations, things like that, flooding events. We get deployed with Truckee Meadows Fire and stuff like that. So we do a lot of things to support the community here and the agencies here. And I always tell people we're a force multiplier to the guys that carry the badges. So if you have any questions about the program up here, I can definitely give you all the data you need to support what I'm saying. Thank you.
Thank you. I see also Sheriff McMahill again. It's John Bacadal that has his hand raised there.
Hey, Sheriff, thank you. It's John Bacadal. I'm the Carson City Emergency Manager, and I oversee the Carson City CERT team. This grant's utilized in very similar fashions to Joe's statement for Washoe County. They canvass neighborhoods with information. They do evacuations. They support the EOC in positions as personnel. They do field support to both the Sheriff's Office, the Fire Department, including light search and rescue. They've supported animal shelters and people shelters, all of our special events, including Sheriff's Night Out. They've taken over the Medical Reserve Corps from the health department here because we have doctors and nurses on our team. And they do also assist with our public works and parks and rec with their traffic control and parking. We, again, utilize similar hours to Joe in relation to community size, but we average about 250 to 500 hours a month of volunteer hours that go directly to supporting the first responders as well as other organizations within our community. Thank you.
Sheriff McMahill, for the record. Dr. Lake, does that kind of answer your question there on the utilization between the two?
Yeah, it sure does. Thank you.
Any other discussion? So there's a motion on the floor. Do I have a second? All right, no second. So we'll move on. We'll entertain a new motion. Nobody has a new motion?
Chair, Carolyn Leving for the record. I would like to move that the Finance Committee accept the slate of project proposals as offered by the Urban Area Working Group for recommendation to fund to the full Homeland Security Commission.
All right, we have a motion to accept the slate as presented. Do I have a second? Or any discussion, I should ask. Any second?
This is Chris Lake again. I just for discussion, I agreed with the drone provisions that we had that the original motion had that those drone UASC drone projects be coordinated through the drone center and through the fusion center so that we had the cost savings. So I would support adding that portion back into the original or into the new motion.
Carolyn Levering for the record. Dr. Lake, I want to make sure I understand the amendment that you are requesting on this. I'm very cautious about putting limitations and restrictions on these at the Finance Committee level. But if that really is the will of this group, I want to ensure that I'm wording the amendment correctly. So if I understand, the amendment to this motion would be to include a provision that drone first responder projects being proposed into the future will be coordinated through a centralized effort through the Southern Nevada Counterterrorism Center, and that's specific to the UASC grant. Is that my understanding of your amendment?
Yes, that's correct. And I think that's pretty consistent with the way we used to do cyber, and cyber projects had to be approved by the cyber committee. So I think that we have some history and background in making sure those type of projects are coordinated with the experts and the people that are currently doing it.
Okay, thank you. I think I understand more where you're going with that, because I know we do have separate working group committees to prioritize conflicting communications projects or conflicting cyber projects. So if that is part of this, then I guess rather than make it a restriction or limitation, that perhaps what this motion is to ensure that a subcommittee of the commission focused on drone first responder projects be implemented, that we request it be implemented by the commission to ensure centralized and organized and intentional approaches towards funding into the future.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good start. I just see these drone requests are going to go all over the place, not just in UASC, but I could see it in the rurals and everywhere else in the future. So
I understood, Sir Carolyn, for the record again. And there are various levels of drone programming, right? The tethered drones versus mobile drones versus drone first responder. They're all very different programs with very different objectives. But I do see that the drone first responder being what I view as the highest tier, most complex, requiring the most technical skill and capability, and therefore also costing the most, definitely needs some coordination at every level. So I'll take another shot at forming an amendment to my original proposal, is that along with this committee's recommendation to the commission to fund the slate of projects, that this committee also recommends to the commission the formation of a working group that will focus effort on centralizing and coordinating
fun morning so far
under requests.
So I'm running late.
I hope you were able to hear that over the background noise.
Karen, this is Brett Compson. We actually could not. Could you restate that so we clearly get that on the record? Sorry.
Understood. I'm really good at saying things and then forgetting what I said just then. So I'll try one more shot. In addition to my original motion, I request to amend and include that this committee's recommendation to the full commission is to also formulate a working group focused on coordinating the efforts of all drone first responder programs in the Urban Area Security Initiative grant.
Brett, did you get that down?
I think we did, sir.
Okay, as I see it, we only have 6 members that are voting. Is that correct?
That's correct, sir.
So do we need to go individually or just all by one?
I'm going to defer to Sam Laddish. Could you guide us?
Oh, so,
why don't you?
I think we need a second still.
Yeah, I know. I'm asking the question before I get there. Thank you.
This is Samantha Laddick for the record. If you want to take a vote to see if it's unanimous, then I think that would be the easiest. And then if you have people that are voting against it, I think we should probably just do a roll call vote for clarity.
Okay, do I have a second?
Chris Lake, I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a first and a second by Chris Lake. I'm going to take a roll call vote because I'm starting off Kevin McMahill for the record as a nay on this vote. Michael Brown,
Yes.
Karen Levering,
Aye.
George Tagliati,
I'm a little unclear on how we're modifying the drone piece of it. I don't want to be all that confining on it as far as drone operations. And maybe I'm just misinterpreted it, but just to give you an idea, we'll use with Highway Patrol use drones strictly for like a fatal crash, and then that's it. It's over. Totally different mission, totally different everything else. I just don't want to paint everybody with the same brush on this, as far as if there's any coordination as far as use of drones, etc. Other than that, that's probably my only concern. I can see the value of the CERT teams up north and certainly prove that. So that's about it on my end.
So George, Sheriff McMahill, we're beyond discussion. We're at yay or nay.
I would have to go yay.
Okay, Lieutenant Joe Calarcuro.
I'm gonna have to go with just based on the restriction of the whole drone program, nay at this time.
And Dr. Lake.
I'd vote yay.
So it looks like we're at 4-2. Is that a correct?
That's correct.
Brett, where does that leave us, Samantha?
I have 4 yays and 2 nays, which would mean the motion passes.
Okay, motion passes. Very good. All right, moving on for the item number 6, public comment. Again, no action may be taken upon a matter raised under this item of the agenda under the matter itself until the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an item on which the action may be taken. Public comment may be limited to 3 minutes per person. Let's go on to telephone number 1-669-219-2599. When prompted, provide the meeting ID of 202-331-8963, then press pound. Participant ID number, please press pound. For public comment, press *6 to unmute your phone and *6 again to mute your phone when your comments are complete. Again, the YouTube is about 60 to 90 seconds behind the live meeting, so we'll wait for a pause for about 1 minute. Let's see if we have any public comment.
Hey, Sheriff Brian O'Neill for the record. I'd just like to
go ahead.
Just like to offer to the group, there is a UAS counter UAS working group that's been organized through the Clark County LEPC, the Local Emergency Planning Commission. Currently has approximately 60 to 80 members made up of all public safety agencies, utility companies, federal agencies like the BLM and NNSS. And their mission is to capture the use of drones in different applications and then deconflict any competing airspace and prioritization that needs to occur. So as you were referring to a group to establish as a working group, that one does already exist here in Southern Nevada.
All right, very good. We have been at about a minute. So Lauren, do we have anybody on the phone?
Lauren Vorst for the record, seeing none, sir.
How about up in Carson?
None in Carson, sir.
Nobody in Vegas?
Seeing none.
All right, we'll move on to item number 7 of entertainment, a motion to adjourn.
Carolyn Liebring, so moved.
See y'all, some of you later this afternoon. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.